Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? If the background looks a little bit different, it's because I've had to change the spot where I shoot my videos. The streetlights are off in downtown Carlsbad. I don't know if it's a permanent thing or maybe they're just working on them. So maybe they're trying to save a few bucks and they're keeping the streetlights off. So I'm gonna have to go find someplace new to shoot videos. Hopefully this place works well. Only problem is they're doing the power washing. So if they get any closer, I might have to go someplace else. But anyway, we'll see how far we can go here. My name is Kent, the channel is EOS San Diego, and of course I talk about the blockchain. I talk about the EOS blockchain, and I talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum mainly. I think that I'm gonna start talking a lot more about Bitcoin. Not that I have any less interest in EOS. Actually, we're doing very well on EOS. We love the EOS blockchain. I think it's a blockchain that has utility, gives blockchain utility. Bitcoin gives blockchain value. In fact, we had a challenge that we did recently, and I'd like to congratulate the winner of the challenge. It's Aubrey's, let me make sure I get this right, Aubrey's Online Diary. I'll put the link below to his video. He had almost 2,000 views. He made a video about the challenge application, had almost 2,000 views. And congratulations, we did a challenge. He was the one that had the most amount of views. So congratulations, good job. A perfect way to use the challenge application to have people do things, tasks. I see a lot of people are advertising their YouTube channels on the challenge application. So yeah, it's working really, really well. And this was a nice challenge, and he did a great job. And I congratulate him, and I'll put a link to that video below. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit tonight, a little bit about Bitcoin, because I really think Bitcoin is going to get to be more prominent and more important as time goes on. And I want to let people know that Bitcoin is probably going to be one of your safest bets in the future, especially if you live here in the United States, because there are definitely big things happening here in the United States of America. I mean, I'm not I used to, in fact, I used to be into politics. I actually made videos about politics, but I quit that a few years ago when I got more involved with blockchain. But I kind of predicted 4 years ago or 3 years ago what's going to happen. And now it's kind of starting to become reality, which is that if the president of the United States, everybody knows who he is, does not win this election, he may not give over power easily. And I predicted that 3 years ago, that actually, for the first time in the U.S. history, a court may decide how the outcome results are determined. So this is very interesting. It creates a whole nother way for our system to work, where courts are actually making decisions rather than voters, and then the courts are obviously unelected people. They're appointed by the President of the United States, and of course Donald Trump has had a few appointments here, and he has one coming up very, very quickly, and he will make that appointment before he leaves office. If he does leave office, or if he doesn't, he will make that appointment. So the court, they may decide how this turns out, which means that the United States is basically the system that we live under, the way we elect, the way we govern, the way things are done in this country could all be in jeopardy and could be changing. Not to mention the fact that there is incredible pressure for, like I said the other night, and as I've been saying over and over again, and I will continue to say, that the economy in the United States is under incredible stress right now. Incredible stress based on the pandemic that's going on, based on the fact that the only alternative they have right now is to print money. They have nothing else. The American people aren't able to generate tax revenues because the economy's slowed down. A lot of people have lost their job. A lot of people have lost their businesses. So you can't go and tax the people more. In fact, if anything, the people are looking to the government for help. And the government has no money. Government it runs deficits every year. In fact, there are trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, and liable to go more and more trillions and trillions in debt. So everything in the United States could be what you own, what you buy, could be in jeopardy as far as how those values are determined. This is why I want to talk more about Bitcoin. This is why I think Bitcoin is the solution for so many people that have a little bit of money, that are trying to protect themselves and not be caught up in this vortex of creating money and everything being inflated to the point that you can't afford anything, everything becoming too expensive to buy, and then having trouble, keeping things together, holding on to things that you own, like your home, your businesses and stuff like that. Bitcoin may be your answer, maybe your solution. I always get a kick out of a guy like Peter Schiff, because he's a gold guy. And I mean, he gets everything right until it comes to, what you should do to prepare yourself. And of course, his idea is gold. But the problem with a guy like Peter Schiff is Peter Schiff makes money by you buying gold, because he's a gold broker. He has I think it's I won't even say the name of his fund, but he has a couple gold funds. He also, if you want to buy gold, you can buy gold through him. I won't even tell you where you can buy it from him, because I think the guy, he's a shiller. He just shills for gold all the time. Talks about how important gold is, how you got to have gold. If you don't have gold, then you're going to get wiped out and all this other stuff. But it's funny. He has a self-interest in this issue, because that's his business. The thing about Bitcoin is nobody owns Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not owned by any individual person, corporation, or entity. Bitcoin is a concept and an idea that's digital, that's online. We don't know who the creator of Bitcoin is, probably never will know who the creator of Bitcoin is. Nobody controls it. There's not a board of directors. There's not a corporation. There's not an individual. There's not a CEO. There's nobody that controls Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an independent, running digitally online. The miners are the ones that are in control of Bitcoin, and of course the miners are decentralized. And it's in my mind the best solution that has ever been developed, and I don't even know that there could be a better one. I mean, maybe there could be a better solution than Bitcoin if I'm trying to think of the flaws of Bitcoin. A lot of people talk about the flaws in Bitcoin. I could talk a little bit about the flaws in Bitcoin. I mean, the fees, the mining fees, the stuff like this. Probably the biggest problem with Bitcoin isn't the way Bitcoin operates or what it does or how it works. It's probably because it is the scalability of Bitcoin is probably the biggest problem with it. Of course, that's why we're big fans of EOS, because it's the only blockchain that scales. But anyway, Bitcoin doesn't have a Peter Schiff in the background. Peter Schiff isn't telling you to buy Bitcoin because he owns Bitcoin or he sells Bitcoin or he has a position in Bitcoin. He's telling, nobody tells you that because nobody owns that. Even though Peter Schiff doesn't own gold, he has a vested interest in telling you that that's what you need to invest in, because that's what you're going to, that's the way you're going to get away from all this inflation that's about ready to come over us. And hopefully it doesn't come over in a way that it just overwhelms everybody, but it could be pretty powerful the way this whole thing falls out as far as inflation is concerned. But I definitely think it's going to happen. It's inevitable to happen. Nobody could stop it. With the way the government's being operated, there's nothing anybody can do. If Donald Trump stays in office, and he may stay in office for more than 2 terms, I think that's getting set up to happen. That it could go on for quite a while, and we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's anybody's call. We do know that the dollar's being valued. We also know that the dollar's world reserve currency status is in jeopardy, and there's nothing really to take its place as far as fiat's concerned, because the only reason the dollar was ever reserve currency around the world was because it was backed by gold, because supposedly there was enough gold in the world. They printed dollars, and the dollar was backed by gold, and there was a fixed figure for a long time. But then, they devalued it, and finally they just took it off altogether. Well, there's no other fiat currency in the world, I believe, that anybody's going to trust as far as gold's concerned, backed by gold, and I just don't think in today's world that that's going to work like it did right after World War II with the Bretton Woods situation, where they decided that the U.S. dollar would be the world reserve currency. So there's nothing to take the dollar's place. There's no other currency that's going to step in the place of the dollars. Nothing's going to be that's going to do that. And there's nothing else that's going to happen here in the United States to correct the situation we're in, because they've already tried the only thing they could do, which was during the financial crisis to print money, just like they're printing money right now. And it's not really even printing money because it's all done digitally. There's no printing press printing money. The amount of money that's in circulation that's printed is very small. It's basically all digital. But the amount of money created digitally was actually created to bail out the banks. The banks used the money, gave it to the corporations. The corporations took the money, pumped it into the stock market, which indirectly helped people in their 401ks and their investments, and also helped companies because companies reinvested in their own stock, but never got down to the smaller people that were working in jobs, own small businesses, own small farms, own small retails, wholesale, whatever small business. You never shared in that activity back in the 2008 financial crisis. And today they can't redo that. They can't take that and recreate it because there is nothing to prop up right now. I mean, you got the stock market right now at an all-time high. Companies are not doing well. They're, of course, literally employees, are losing jobs. Companies are trying to downsize, decrease because of COVID and the amount of money it costs to do anything. This social distancing and wearing masks, and where things are being shut down all the time. You can't prop up the business or the stock market with that. Even though that's all that Donald Trump has said. He just continues to talk about the stock market, but the stock market isn't helping everyday ordinary people. It's just keeping the corporations so that people that have investments are feeling like their 401ks are doing okay. But that I don't know how long that can hold out, especially with this inflated dollar. So I'm going to start hitting very hard in this channel about Bitcoin. Now, when I started this channel, I actually started this channel long before I got into cryptocurrencies, but and I started this channel right after the election 4 years ago. And I talked for a while about Donald Trump because I knew he wouldn't be the person a lot of people thought he was going to be. But then when EOS came along, we got really involved with EOS and did very well in the very beginning with EOS. So I called it EOS San Diego because I wanted to build the channel around EOS, which is kind of a niche group. I mean, a small group of people, which meant that the amount of people that would watch these videos were very small because not too many people knew about blockchain, and even fewer knew about EOS. More people were knew more about Bitcoin and Ethereum than they did EOS. So my audience has always been small because of the fact that I always stuck to a pretty narrow group of people, which is the people that were involved with EOS. But I'm going to try to grow that a little bit. I'm going to try to expand that out. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. Talk a little bit more about the economy, talk a little bit more about Bitcoin, and talk a little bit more about how people should handle the future as far as their finances are concerned. I want to kind of try to grow this a little bit. And like I say, not because we're not big fans of EOS, because we are, but I think it's important for people to know this information because it's going to affect everybody's future. People like my age group are thinking, that they either want to slow down or retire, and they're concerned. And of course, younger people are trying to figure out a way to get a little bit of money together to do something, start a business, or to be, to have enough money to buy homes, businesses, whatever. So I want to start focusing on stuff like that. Start talking about stuff like that, about how you can grow in this environment, and what I think is going to happen. Because I have a pretty good idea what's going to happen because I've been around for a while, and I see what's going on. And of course, I've been through the Reagan years, been through all the different presidents. In fact, I was a stockbroker during the Ronald Reagan years. I don't even want to talk about Ronald Reagan because he was the one that started the whole trickle-down thing. Give the money to the corporations and let it flow down to the individual workers. I didn't think that was ever a good idea. It never helped. I was even a broker, so it didn't help us in the brokerage business. And of course, he tried to get rid of the inflation, which he did. Brought it down quite a bit, and from the Jimmy Carter years. But anyway, I've seen all this before. I've seen it played out a lot. Watched all this stuff for years and years and years. the economics, and that's what I think I want to start talking about a little bit more on this channel. So if you're interested in that kind of content, stay tuned, because I think I got some stuff just to share with you. But at this point, I would be, and I think especially at these prices, in fact, I just saw that Bitcoin was like 10,800, something like that. I mean, it's been up this high and dropped back before, and I don't know where it's going right now, but I think anything below 20 grand on Bitcoin is to me right now. That's a price that I'd be very interested in Bitcoin at, below 20,000. Especially in the very short term, or within the next 6 months. I think 20,000, anything below 20,000. So if you're thinking about it, if you're interested in it, I would highly suggest that you take a hard look at Bitcoin. And of course, I think the easiest way to buy Bitcoin is just to do it through Coinbase. I mean, I hear people all the time, especially sophisticated people. I even heard like Jim Cramer, who's on Mad Money. The guy's been on CNBC forever with Mad Money. He's supposed to know all about investments. He didn't even know how to invest in Bitcoin. He was like, well, how do I buy Bitcoin? Well, it's a very easy process. Probably one of the easiest processes you can make by just going on Coinbase, setting up an account. Of course, you're gonna have to give all your information, and it's going to be, they're going to know who you are, and of course, obviously if they know who you are, and they know your transactions, and all your transactions are done through Coinbase, you're going to pay taxes on that money, but that's okay. I'll pay taxes on money that I make when I keep up ahead of what's going on with the inflation and things like that. And we'll see. I kind of have a feeling too right now what's going to happen is that as the economy grows worse, things get worse, people lose more and more jobs, that the U.S. government will continue to cut taxes, which I think that's why I think Donald Trump has a good chance of being reelected. And I also think that not only will they cut taxes, I think that the government will start to help businesses out with loans, and probably extend unemployment benefits too, and give people more and more money, which is also going to increase the price of Bitcoin. So I think that's the direction we're taking. Everything's going to become more expensive, and the government's going to continue to prop things up by buying up assets, including stocks, and by issuing checks for people, stimulus checks, by giving out business loans to businesses, and by continuing to support people through everything they can do in order to generate an economy right now that's in bad shape, very, very bad. It was incredible for me to watch, and I didn't watch it live, I watched it afterwards, the debate, and have anybody say anything about the economy being good. That was quite it's quite the reach. It shows you how out of touch these people are, and they are out of touch. And I said this the other night. They're just literally actors playing roles. I really have a hard time believing they know much of anything, including the date of the election, I think, which is something Trump messed up as far as when the actual date of the election was. So if he doesn't even know the date of the election, I don't know how engaged he is. And this is the guy that people are counting on to fix things. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.